Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm sharing with you what's for dinner. All right, if you're new here, hi, I'm Claire, welcome. Come on in, make yourselves comfortable. Today I'm sharing with you some dinner ideas. I myself am a frugal, budget conscious kind of mom. I have a family of 4, I've got 2 little boys. So I thought I would share with you guys 4 different recipes that I've made for my family recently. Maybe you're just curious what we're up to, what we're eating. Maybe you want some inspiration for your own self or family. Everything that I make is usually pretty easy, fairly quick, and always budget conscious. So if any of that interests you, here you go. Here's some recipes we did this month. I hope you enjoy. All right, you guys, our first meal is this delicious baked spaghetti and meatballs. And guys, I make my own meatballs from scratch, so I'm gonna show you how I do that. I use ground turkey. I've got Italian style breadcrumbs. Normally I'd use an egg, but I raise quail, so I have quail eggs. I also have some smoked paprika, some mustard powder, and salt and pepper. Now, I know it's weird that I have these quail eggs. I know you probably don't see people cooking with them very often, but we raise quail. So about 4 quail eggs equals 1 chicken egg. That's a pound of ground turkey. If you are looking for a more budget-friendly option, if you like to make your own meatloaf, your own meatballs, go with ground turkey. I find that it doesn't really make that big of a difference, and it's way cheaper. And I'm not measuring anything here, you guys. Did you see? I just poured in some paprika and some salt and pepper and a handful of breadcrumbs. I would say probably like 1/3 of a cup. Basically, I just do it until it gets pasty and dough-like. I also added some of my own homegrown basil to it because I decided that those Italian breadcrumbs just didn't seem seasoned enough. And I used my little scoop to help make the balls, and then I'm just shaping them with my hands so that they're just a little bit more round. Next, I am going to just pan fry them for a couple minutes on each side just to get them kind of crispy. I'm using a cast iron here because this can go right into the oven, which makes things very easy. And today I'm using a jar sauce that I just had to kind of use up that was in my cupboard. And it was kind of a small jar, so I went ahead and filled it with water and shook it really good. That's the best way to get every little bit out of your jar of sauce. And also, since we're going to be baking this in the oven, it is going to lose a bit of that liquid, and I didn't want it to be too thick. Adding some more salt and pepper. And now I'm going to bake that in the oven at 350 for about 40 minutes. Here we have this great bagged salad. It was $2 off at Aldi. I love those red stickers. Their bagged salads are fantastic. I eat them all the time. It's such an easy, healthy side dish to have. And it takes literally no time. And they're always delicious. So that's our vegetable. Next, I'm just going to make some spaghetti in a pot in the normal way one would make spaghetti. But if you want to use any type of noodle, you could use any type of noodle. You could even use a zucchini noodle if you're trying to eat less carbs. You could use a chickpea noodle if you're trying to up your protein. And now I'm just going to mix it all together, get it all saucy, throw the meatballs on top of the pasta, add a little bit of cheese, and I'm just going to throw that under the broiler for just a minute just to melt all the cheese. And that's it. Very easy, very delicious. This one is definitely a crowd pleaser. It also makes a ton, which is nice because leftovers are great of this. My husband even just picked out the meatballs and made a little sandwich for himself for lunch the next day, which is great. That also saves money in the long run when you can get more than one meal out of your dinner if you don't mind leftovers. And of course, I'm a budget queen. Of course, I don't mind leftovers. Next, we are making fajitas. So tasty. First, I am going to cut up some lettuce and make a salad because I had some lettuce I had to use. Iceberg is not my favorite, but honestly, sometimes it's nice because it's the crispiest of the lettuces. So maybe not a bunch of flavor, but I do enjoy the texture. This is a whatever I have left in the fridge kind of salad. And we are getting some good color in there. I've got some cucumber. I'm also cutting up a pepper. Just, whatever veggies you got laying around. make it a salad. And my husband actually was in Mexico for work for a couple weeks and he brought back tons of cheese. So we've been having Mexican cheese on everything and it's so delicious and it's like not quite firm enough to shred. So I just cut it up. So good. And when it comes to our steak, I'm using shaved steak because you guys, it is so cheap. I would love to have a big, beautiful, fancy steak for my steak fajitas, but it's not in the budget. And that one was also $2 off at Aldi, which made that whole thing of shaved steak like something like $2, which is a great deal. And I love to use it in things like burritos or fajitas or things like that. Sandwiches, obviously, sandwich meat. And so we're doing fajitas tonight. And honestly, it's because I have all these peppers I got to use. So I'm just going to cut the peppers up. I'm just going to season it right in its little container because it is unseasoned. And I wish I had like a bottle of marinade, but I don't. So I'm using smoked paprika. I'm using cayenne. I'm using salt and pepper. That's seasoned salt right there. Really, the applications are endless with this type of like beef. You could do any flavor you wanted. And I'm going to throw the peppers in there first just to kind of, get them a little bit cooked, soften them a bit. Throw the beef in. Also, because this is shaved beef, it's going to cook really, really fast. This is such a fast dinner. Of course, I got to season it just a little bit more. You can kind of tell by the color once you start cooking if it's, seasoned enough. Next, I am just throwing these tortillas onto a pan to heat them up a little bit because I don't want a cold tortilla. And that's dinner. So simple, so easy, extremely filling. We've got a lot of fresh food going on too, so it doesn't feel like an ultra processed sort of meal, which, we do have those quite often as well. But this really like hit the fresh spot, the crunchy lettuce. It was good. The family really enjoyed this. Next, we're doing soup and sandwiches, which is a perfect type of food to eat when we all have like really busy schedules going on. We have like extracurriculars and stuff, and this is something that everyone can just make their own sandwich and the soup can just sit on the stove. I did make my own focaccia loaf earlier in the week, so that's what this is right here. I'm using it as the bread, but like buy sandwich bread at the store. This is totally optional, but I do love baking bread. I'm definitely a bread baker, so I usually have some sort of homemade bread in the house, and today it's this great sourdough focaccia. When it comes to the soup, I am making squash soup today. If you're someone who's not that into vegetables, maybe your kids aren't that into vegetables, maybe you're just tired of the way you've been eating your vegetables, make some soup. This is one of my favorite things to eat, and these are actually from our own garden, and I still have 10 of them left as well, so we've been eating soup a lot lately. And you just scoop the seeds out. And I cut them up here just a little bit so that they'd roast faster. Drizzle them with a bit of olive oil. I also have a red onion here. And I mean, honestly, you don't even have to cut these that much. Like, this is a very low level soup making here. It's super easy. I just do salt and pepper. And then you just throw them in the oven just like that. You don't even have to peel them. And I'm going to cook these at 400 degrees for 35 to 45 minutes. If you can stick a fork in it, then you're good. Next here, I have some chicken broth, but I only had one can. So I used the second one. I just have it filled with water. Use what you have. If you don't have chicken broth, use water. You're not going to die. It's still going to be good. If it's not in the budget, then who cares? Don't do it. So I'm using a spoon here to remove the skin. This is way easier to do after they get out of the oven than beforehand. However, it would be smarter if you waited until it cooled down. I just really wanted to eat this soup, so I was willing to burn my fingers. Now I'm going to throw it into my broth. Let it get all soaked up in there. And in the end, we are going to blend this because it's going to be like a bisque style soup. But I find that if I use a potato masher beforehand, it does make the blending a lot more, fast, easy, simple. So I'm going to mash it up first. Here I'm using my immersion blender, but you don't have to use an immersion blender if you don't have one. You can absolutely pour this into a regular blender and blend it up, and that works just as well. Now I'm going to season it with garlic powder, a little bit of cayenne, some smoked paprika, salt, and pepper. And you can really, do, if you want it really spicy, add some chili powder in there. You can add so much different stuff to suit your own sort of palate. You could also, at this point, add some heavy cream if you want it to be a super creamy soup. I'm just keeping it vegetable based today. But if you want to add, also, I've added cream cheese in the past, and that's very good too. And now I'm making my sandwich. And if this meat looks weird to you, it's because I made it myself. We have started making our own lunch meat, you guys. And I did a whole video on it. And if you want to see it, I will link the lunch meat video down below. I got it's chicken right here. And I got a little Havarti on there. I got some lettuce. I have some ranch dressing from a packet from McDonald's because I am a budget queen. And there you go. Simple soup and sandwich. All right, here we go. We've got our take on fish and chips, but we're not frying any of it because I'm lazy and also because it's messy and kind of unhealthy. So we're baking all of it. We're starting with our zucchini. I got this from TikTok. It is a great recipe. Cut it in half, throw some salt on it, let it sit for 10 minutes to get all that water out. As far as the fish, I'm using bluegills that I caught myself. When I say I'm a budget queen, I mean I will spend the whole day on the river catching my own bluegills. But you could use tilapia, any kind of white fish from the store. You definitely don't need to go make your own fish. And sometimes I do love a good fish fry, but like I said, it's messy and I don't have time for it tonight. So we are going to bake this fish. I have those same Italian breadcrumbs from the Dollar Tree. I did beef it up with a little salt and pepper. And what I'm going to do is just dunk my fish into the olive oil just to help to get all of that coating to stick. And because this fish is not very fatty, adding a little bit of fat there with the olive oil does make it, delicious. I'm just going to do that to all my pieces. I did go through and make sure that my pieces were like kind of the same size so that they'd all bake at the same time, nice and even. And my kids love like a fish and chips moment, and they don't care at all what type of breadcrumbs. Sometimes I do a wet batter. It doesn't matter. They'll eat it no matter what. So this is like a staple in our house is fish. And when I don't have any that I made myself, I do go to the store and I'll buy like a bag of perch or something. Now, before I bake it, I'm just putting a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top because it gets really crispy and it just adds a nice little flavor to the top. And now I'm going to bake at 425, I believe. 425. Is that what that says? Yeah. For 20 minutes. Now that our zucchini has sweated all that water out, I'm going to dab it down with a paper towel. And I'm going to create like a lattice using diagonal lines. Diagonal lines on the zucchini. And I am going to put salt, pepper, and smoked paprika on there. But you could season this however you want if you're not a paprika fan. Skip that part. Now I have a hot skillet and I'm going to cook them for 5 minutes on each side. This recipe took TikTok by storm during the summer months when I had tons of zucchini from the garden. And now I found that I'm still buying zucchini at the store and making it this way because it's my favorite way. And while those are cooking, I'm just going to throw some of these frozen French fries into the air fryer. These bags, they're like 50 pounds from Sam's Club, and they're like restaurant style ones. So cheap if you have the space to store them. This is the best way. I have found though that if you don't have a deep fryer and you're going to put them in the air fryer like me, you should oil them and throw some salt on them or they don't really come out like that good. Like I think these are designed for like an actual, fryer. So I've done some experimenting and that works out the best. And all of these things take hardly any time. This is a very quick meal to put together and everything kind of comes out at the same time, which is really easy. And look how delicious these look. They're all crispy and tasty looking. And it's perfect because for the last 10 minutes of the fish, we put the zucchini in the oven to finish them off for the last 10 minutes. The oven's already at the right temperature. It's perfect. These really go together nicely. And then we're ready to serve. I probably should have greased that, but I didn't. So you get to just watch me struggle trying to get that fish off of there. Oh, I wish I could eat that right now while I'm sitting here doing this voiceover. I wish I was eating some of that zucchini. And there we go. My family's take on fish and chips. No deep frying needed. All right, you guys, those were some things that we had for dinner. Definitely hit subscribe and come on back for more if you haven't already, because I will be doing these types of videos probably monthly, just because I watch them religiously from other channels and I'm constantly getting ideas to freshen up our menu because I hate eating the same thing all the time. Leave me a comment down below, let me know what you thought, and of course, I will see you guys in my next one. And yeah, thanks for watching, bye. And of course, here's your friendly reminder that my recipe journals are available now. I have 3 styles to choose from. Use these journals to organize all of your recipes. They are available on Amazon, and the link will be in the description down below.